Then as Donna. There we go. All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys all so much for being on today. Clearly, if you are watching right now, if you're live, or if you're watching the recording, you are all made for more and you're looking for more out of your business. So big round of applause to you guys, because learners are earners and people who come on these calls. So when your upline or your organization is doing a training, make the effort to be on, because these are really what make your business absolutely accelerate and will make you be successful. So, and get off to a great start for 2022. So my name is Andrea Sale, and I'm coming at you from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Very cold up here. And I've been doing Pampered Chef for about 14 years. I started because I dreamed of quitting the corporate life and the rat race. I worked in oil and gas in a tech support position. I called myself the demo dolly. I would show people how to use software. And although I made a really great income, 6 figures, I have since tripled my income with doing Pampered Chef. So I always dreamed of not having a boss and making my own hours and just having the flexibility to work whenever I wanted. So this became really appealing, that you could really make some serious money doing this. So I have 2 daughters, Juliet and Alice, who are 6 and 4. And my big goal was to have kids and not have to put them in daycare. And then as soon as I accomplished that goal and had them at home, I put them in daycare. So I have earned Circle of Honor, which is #1 in Canada for the past 6 years in recruiting, sales, and most recently in organizational sales. And definitely my most proudest moment of my career so far has been promoting to national executive, which has always been a lifelong dream of mine. And then a career highlight was attending Chairman's Circle in person in October. So I'm super excited to be with you guys tonight. Thanks for being on. And I'm excited for Emily to introduce herself.
Hi guys, thank you for being here. I am pumped for this event. Last week was phenomenal. So if you're just tuning in for the first time, make sure you catch last week's replay because it was amazing. You do not want to miss that one for sure. I'm Emily Kerrigan. I'm a National Executive Director living in McKinney, Texas. I'm originally from Louisiana. I live here with my husband, Josh, and our 3-year-old, Ezra, who 2 weeks away from being 4. I've been a consultant for 3.5 years. And when I started, I had just had Ezra. He was 3 months old. And I was returning to work after my maternity leave. I was working as an orthopedic surgery physician assistant. And I was working like stupid hours in the operating room. It had me wanting more time at home with Ezra. And this job, this Pampered Chef business allowed me to leave that crazy job in 2019 and stay home with him. So this is something I never thought would have been possible. I actually started 2020 as a senior director, and I promoted to exec, senior exec, and national by August of that year. So I'm going to chat with y'all about that tonight. And just like Andrea said, one of my proudest achievements in this business was earning Circle of Honor this past year for developing leaders. Again, something I never would have ever imagined coming from this business. And we're going to talk about how we made these magical things happen tonight. So, but before we do that, I'm honored and pumped to introduce y'all to my friend and Senior Executive Director, Melanie Kraft. She has had some seriously impressive growth in her very short time in the business, and she keeps me encouraged and inspired daily. Seriously, I text her, I call her every single day, and I really get on her nerves, but she's on me daily. Okay. She started last year as a senior consultant with one personal team member. She had one teammate, January 1st of 2020. Okay. She promoted to senior exec. Oh, I said last year. Sorry. I still think it's 2021 over here. She started 2020. January 1st, 2020 as a senior consultant, and has since promoted to senior executive director. She did that November of the same year, 2020, 13 months after she signed up. This is wild. So Melanie's going to share her story so y'all can get inspired by all of her awesomeness.
Yay. I'm so happy to be here. I was really excited when Emily asked me to speak about January because I have a lot of January feelings. January is a time of year in 2020 when it was just a really big turning point for my business. A little bit more context of kind of where I was at that time. I had been a consultant for a few months, and I really felt like I was still just figuring things out. I was casually doing parties. One person asked me to join my team, so I wouldn't really call that recruiting. She basically said, I'm signing up. So I had one person on my team, and that December, I made what I considered a big paycheck, like a paycheck that was like, okay, maybe this is something that I could do. It was not, mind blowing, but for me, it was something that felt encouraging and just really made me dream a little bit about the possibilities and the impact that this business could have for my family. So Emily, who's the #1 advocate for goal setting, somehow convinced me, more of a try your best and make no promises type of gal, to set some goals. So I will be honest, I was completely terrified. The goals seemed really big and really scary and kind of silly. And I was really just hoping that she wasn't like showing them to people and laughing at me. Goals in my mind set me up for failure. That is the truth of how I felt. Like if I set these and I put them out there, I'm setting myself up to like be embarrassed and to fail. But now I have these goals. These are those goals. These are the ones I set. I have them on this piece of paper next to my Pampered Chef awards in my office, because these goals didn't set me up for failure. They set me up to take action. So once I wrote them down and I showed them to people, I was determined to figure out how to get there. I'm going to show you those goals if I can screen share, show you kind of what they were. Let's see if this works. Okay, can y'all see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are my goals. And I knew that there were things I was doing in my business were good, but also that I had some major holes. These may not seem like huge goals to you, but to me, they were really scary, right? They felt far-fetched. So my first goal, be a director by July, I realized like I have to learn how to recruit. We have tons of resources and ideas and trainings. I just wasn't doing them. Like I wasn't doing the things I needed to be doing to recruit. Earning $1,000 a month, I obviously needed to have more parties. My goal became having 4 parties a week, and I had to learn new skills for follow-up and customer care, better party content, and like actually talking about the opportunity of people booking parties. Qualify for the level 2 trip. I had to do both of those things, recruit and sell, but I also had to teach other people how to do that. So it became a goal of mine to learn to develop leaders on my team. So with this business, we have access to more trainings, more information, more inspiration than any job I can think of. People want to help you. There's room at the table for everybody to have success, but there has to be effort on your end. Any goals demand effort and action on your end. So I want to show you what my year looked like as a reflection of those goals. I'm going to try to pull up a side-by-side and y'all tell me if it works. Still working?
Yeah.
Okay. So the blue piece of paper is my goals. The graphic is what actually happened that year. This shows my title growth and my paycheck growth starting that January after I set those goals. And I'm showing you this because I know in my heart that this is possible. It's possible for anybody in this business. There isn't a secret sauce, guys. It's how much you want it and what action steps you take to make the goals a reality. So I just want to encourage you that this is something that you can do. The resources are plentiful. The inspiration is everywhere. You just have to start doing it. Set the goals and start chipping away at it. And what can happen is amazing.
Okay, for anyone who can't see it, someone said they can't see it. I'm just going to give you a little recap of what you see on the screen here. She promoted a new title every single month for 6 months. Okay. It literally went consultant, senior consultant, skip team leader, who cares? director paycheck, advanced director, senior director, executive director, like insanity. From senior consultant to exec by that June. Okay. It's amazing. And I also want to mention too, in this time that Melanie joined, she joined in the fall of 2019. So that was one of Pampered Chef's biggest recruiting months. I think October was actually record recruiting for the company. It was also my personal biggest recruiting month in my business. I think I was onboarding like 15 people. This was also the time I quit my job and I was beyond overwhelmed. And I can confidently say I was a horrible onboarder, like the worst. I had 0 systems in place. And the fact that Melanie is still here and killing it says a lot. The fact that she didn't quit right after she signed up and I did nothing to help her says a whole lot. She started off a little bit slow, then all of a sudden in January decided to dive in head first, do all the things. And look, I mean, it's clear as day. It totally paid off. So I mentioned all that because you too may feel overwhelmed. You may feel like you don't have any systems in place, or you're not a strong leader. You're not good at developing leaders, but you have faith that there are Melanie Crafts out there in the world. You can find them. Just keep looking, keep recruiting, keep pushing. And you're going to definitely be able to find people like her that love the business, that are sponges, that are participating in everything, that are go-getters that want it. Veronica's right. Melanie is goals. Exactly right. Thank you so much for sharing, Mel. Did you have anything else? You good? That was awesome.
That's it.
Yay. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Everyone give Melanie a round of applause. Awesome. Okay. So I'm also going to share my screen really quick. This paycheck post is not near as cool as Melanie's. But this is something I shared in my team meeting this week. So if you're on my team, I'm sorry, you're going to get a little repeat from me. But I shared this on our team meeting, and just like Melanie said, I love January. This shows the progression of my last 3 January paychecks. Okay. So quite a drastic difference from January 2019 to 2021. So it's went from 1,200 to 27,000. Now, just like Melanie said, for January of 2020, for her, January of 2019 was a turning point for me. Okay. This is when I decided to turn the business from a hobby into something more serious. Before that point, I was doing like 2 to 3 parties a month. I was making around $200 to $1,000 a month while working full time as a physician assistant with a baby at home. And at that time, it was great. It fit nicely into my schedule, just spending a few hours a week doing Pampered Chef. And that was the plan. I just wanted a casual little side job. I wasn't going hardcore on social media. I was kind of keeping it a secret to myself. I didn't really want to go out and blast it to everyone. That was the goal. Then come December 2018, Pampered Chef announced that consultants could earn a trip to Disney World for 4. And that absolutely lit my fire. So I've always been motivated by travel. When I was working as a PA, I would tally up my PTO. I would literally work to gain more time off. That was my purpose in being there. Of course, I loved helping my patients, but I really liked traveling a whole lot. So Josh and I would utilize every single second of time off that we could. And when they announced a Disney trip, I did some math and I realized, okay, if I sell $3,000 a month, I recruit 6 people. I told myself 1 every other month. I don't know why I said that. Then I could get the points to earn the trip. So at the time in the state of my current business, that was insane. That sounded impossible, especially for someone doing 1 to 3 parties a month. But I knew I was going to make it happen. And even if it came down to December 31st at midnight, begging my mom to place an order, I was going to do it. I was going to go to Disney for free and take Ezra on his first trip. So fast forward 6 months from the time they announced the trip, I ended up earning it in half of the time I thought it would take. Okay, 6 months. This is a baby, terrified consultant doing a few parties a month. So 6 months, yay, my first goal was accomplished. Someone who thought goal setting was stupid. We did it. So shortly after earning the Disney trip, I went to my very first conference that summer. I was a director at that point. I got recognized for my director promotion and I got to wear a red dress. So there was a director event that year that was Hollywood themed. If anyone was there, I'm sorry if you had to see me. I don't know why I dressed up like a troll. I can see Melody's face right now because she has seen the evidence. No one on my team was there, thank God. It was just me. I went by myself with another girl on my team who's no longer a consultant, but thank God no one had to witness that. If anyone was there and they saw me, I'm not checking the chat, but very sorry. I dressed up like a troll. I had a blue dress. I actually have a picture here. I'm going to show you. And share screen. Yep, here it is. Red dress and then the troll situation. Right next. Okay. So it was a blast. After being super motivated from conference, of course, I saw everyone's ribbons. I saw the national celebrations on the stage. And I decided maybe I can get behind this whole goal setting concept. I realized there might be something to it. So I was determined to come back as a senior director. And I told myself that if I didn't hit that and I only hit advanced, then I would have to wear my troll dress, my blue dress as my advanced director dress on the stage at conference the next year. So basically, in case you need motivation to skip a promotion level or just to really go far in the field, just buy a really ugly dress and blackmail yourself. Needless to say, I quickly promoted to advanced director, and it wasn't long after that I hit senior because I was not about to wear the troll dress, which I still have, by the way, and I threaten all of my team that they're gonna have to wear it one day. But I started looking at my paychecks at that point after I hit advanced, and I was like, is this for real? It was about the same, sometimes even more than what I was bringing in as a physician assistant. So that was around the summertime. I hit advanced, which is a very slow time of our season, like August. I mean, August can be pretty rough. And I was seeing like $4,000 paychecks, even up to $7,000 paychecks leading up to the holiday season. But the stress and the uncertain hours of the medical field job that I was in was taking a toll on me. And it was especially breaking my heart to have to wake up a sleeping baby at 6 a.m. to have to take him to daycare 5 days a week and be the first kid there at drop off. So I prayed about it a lot. I talked it over with my husband, and we made the super scary decision for me to quit my job. And then the very next month after I quit, I hit senior director, and I had a $13,000 paycheck. So hooray for no troll dress. I don't know if that was more exciting than the $13,000 paycheck or not. But no more troll dress for me. So all this happened because I was motivated to earn a trip, to earn Disney. That was it. It made me realize the potential that this business could offer me and the impact it could have on changing so many other people's lives in the process. So since then, we've earned Bahamas, Puerto Rico, obviously had our national promotion. I ranked 4th in recruiting in the company, which for someone who didn't even want to recruit or wanted nothing to do with this is mind-blowing. And then, of course, ranked number 1 in developing leaders. This year, my husband and I were able to build our dream home, all because I set some big, scary, hairy goals one January and decided to make it happen. So this is why January is my favorite month in the Pampered Chef year. Like Melanie said too, we are surrounded by so much inspiration, so many incredible leaders, incredibly powerful stories. We are given some insane gifts from this company on a silver platter. We cannot waste these opportunities. The fast track rewards, the incentive trips, the new consultant incentives, especially. We cannot keep the perks of the business to ourselves. That's the biggest thing you need to take away from this. It is selfish to hold it in. So what exactly did I do in my business to make changes to make these Disney dreams happen? It's very straightforward. It's very simple. If you decide you want it, you can 100% do it too. So number 1, I made my virtual parties fun and authentic. True to me, true to my personality. I made custom banners. I added more colors, more emojis. I wanted guests to enjoy themselves, and I wanted my hosts to feel special. truthfully, the biggest change was I used a lot of personal photos and a lot of personal videos because I wanted my customers to get to know me and to trust that I love the products and to know that I actually use them too. I was real. Half the time I didn't have makeup on. I had scrubs on. I had my hair in a ponytail. Messes were all over my house. That is what's relatable. The bottom line, you want to show your real life, your face, your voice. That can be huge for making a difference in your business. Don't be stuck being a copy and paste consultant. Okay. Number 2, I made sure to create a habit of asking every single host to become a consultant, no matter what. I asked them if they want to turn their party into a launch party where they would get the commission and the host rewards. We all know that hosts make the best consultants. A lot of y'all were probably hosts before you joined as well. That is crucial. Catch those hosts and do not let them get away without asking them multiple times if they want to join our team. Especially right now with the $25 kit. After $200 in sales, they can join for free. Except for the Canadian, sorry, $35 kit. Is that right? Canada math. Okay, so number 3, I was consistent with my customer care. I would thank every single guest for joining the party and then a few days later ask them to host. Of course, this ultimately fills your calendar and helps you be able to do multiple parties a week simultaneously, which is going to guarantee growth. If you are wanting to promote, if you're wanting to earn a trip, 4 parties a week is a solid starting goal. When our organization decided to make that a requirement, to make that the norm, to make that the goal, that is when we took off. That is absolutely the best change we ever made on our team, was when we all decided to push for 4 parties a week. Number 4, I was consistent with posting on social media. So this is not something that's going to make your business take off overnight, but it will pay off in the long run when you are intentional with it. And when you put time and effort into providing quality for your customers and your followers on social media. So make these habits to boost your business. And my call to action for y'all today is to make a video showing your face. Do something simple like show off the mandolin or the Flex Plus or another product from the new consultant kits. Honestly, the microwave pasta cooker and the garlic press blows people's minds. It's ridiculous. Keep it short and sweet. You don't have to do a novel. You don't have to do a 20-minute video, but post something on your VIP groups and let that be a video you can incorporate into your party outlines. Consistently showing up on social media and providing valuable resources and solutions for your customers is going to build their trust. Okay. Utilizing hashtags and creating engagement can definitely expand your reach and help you find new hosts and find consultants in the long run. There is no right or wrong way to do social media. Personally, I like to aim for 1 post a day, but doing a minimum of 2 to 3 posts a week is great. My best advice is to not waste time analyzing or re-recording videos or trying to snap the perfect photo. Just post something. Honestly, in my opinion, a crappy post is better than no post at all, or better than time wasted thinking about a post that you may never even post. So let's see it. I want to see a video or photo, something showing your face. I want to hear your voice on your social media channels. Okay. Oh gosh, I was looking at the chat. I don't know if anyone had any questions.
Yay.
Yeah, I don't think any questions just about if we can cross border yet, but no, we can't. But that's okay. You know, some Canadian peeps, and we can send some American peeps your way too. I love that, Emily, that a crappy post is better than no post at all. So some of my most loved posts or that people talk about are when I'm in my house coat, that everyone knows the color of my house coat, because you just get on there and repeat your steps. We'll post recap as well here.
Oh yeah, I'll throw them in the chat while Andrea's talking. Andrea's got some goodness for y'all too. You ready?
Yes. Yay. All right. Maybe we'll get you guys to mute. Perfect. Maybe we'll get you to mute them too.
Oh yes, sorry.
Perfect. Thank you. Awesome. That was amazing. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about mindset because it is so important in this business. And just want to remind everybody, you are going to hear a lot of no in this business, and taking the emotion out of the no is key. So when I first started, I used to sit in my office, it sounds like 1,000 years ago, and I used to be on the telephone making calls to get cooking shows. And I'd go in there all amped up, and then I'd hear no, and then I'd hear no, and then I'd hear no. And it kind of like knocked me down every time I heard a no. By the end, I would get some yeses along the way, and I'd be so over the moon excited. It was kind of like a roller coaster. So one of the most valuable things I learned is to take the emotion out of the no. Now, when I hear no, because I know it's going to be part of my day, every day in this business, I think, no, are you crazy? You don't want to have a party with me? Or I think next. So as soon as you hear no, think next. Or what I actually have taped on my laptop is to ask them, when you hear the no, is it no now or no not ever? So is it no not now or no not ever? And it is crazy when you ask this question, how many people will be like, oh, well, I just mean no for this week, but like next week totally works. Or I mean no for January, but I'd love to host a show in February. So I challenge you guys, when you hear no, to first of all ask, is that a no now or a no not ever? To think of, and then if you do get a solid no, to think next, because if you take the emotion out of it, you take the roller coaster. And if you were so excited about that booking and it cancels, again, you're feeling down. So you want to try and keep even keeled so that your mindset is always kind of on a neutral playing field. Before you sit down to look for bookings or to talk to people about recruiting, you want to get yourself in a really positive mindset. One thing that's really helped me is that instead of saying, oh, I have to get bookings, or what I used to think, like I have to, go to my job and work all day for my boss and then work these specific hours. Instead of thinking I have to do it, I like to think I get to lay in my bed and get bookings. So instead of I have to get bookings, I get to get bookings. That's my job, is to get bookings instead of having to. I like to think in my head as well when I'm asking for bookings, things like bookings come to me quickly and easily. Bookings come to me quickly and easily. I'm going to be so booked that I'm going to be overwhelmed, and I'm going to have to give away some bookings to the team because I'm going to have such a full calendar. When you start thinking in this abundant mindset, it is crazy what will happen. Remember that when people are hosting a party, they're not hosting a party for you. You want to change your mindset to, I'm going to do a party. When you're asking somebody for a party, will you have a party for me? You want to change your wording to, I would love to do a party for you because I am going to stock your kitchen with so many tools that is going to completely change your life in the kitchen. So really changing your mindset about someone's doing a party for you to like, girl, you need me to do a party for you because you need a whole bunch of new kitchen tools. I'm a huge fan of manifestation. My whole team knows my famous saying, and manifesting the life of your dreams. So I want you guys to take a moment and think about the life of your dreams. If you knew you could not fail, what would that look like? Just really, really think big for a few minutes. Would it be quitting the job that maybe you're sick to your stomach on Sunday night because you have to go to your job on Monday? Would it be being able to have a bit more financial freedom? Go to the grocery store without looking at the price tags? Would it be having your husband quit his job and retiring him? Because there's people on this call that have accomplished that. Would it be paying off your mortgage? Thinking about these dream situations, they are possible with this business. And really thinking about your dream life and where you'd like to take this. It was always my dream to be a national executive director, always at the end of the rainbow. That was my big, hairy, scary goal. And feeling and actually accomplishing these goals, it's insane what happens when you actually manifest that happening in your life. So I started to believe in this a couple summers ago. I was about $1,000 short of a goal, and I kept talking about it. And I was like, I'm $1,000 short. I told my husband, I wrote it down, put it on my fridge. And I was like, I just need $1,000 to fall from the sky. And sure enough, I was at the grocery store and someone called me with an $1,100 order on the very last day. And I literally reached that goal. And that's when I really started to believe in manifesting. I say manifest that stuff, manifest that stuff. Don't want to swear. Another example of manifesting a goal you are looking to accomplish is really dreaming about how you're going to be feeling once you accomplish this. Who will you be with? What will you be wearing? And what will you be drinking? This really hits me in my heart when I start thinking about this exact manifestation, because when I was working with my team to move us to a senior executive team, I had this dream in my head of after our 3 months, because you have to hit your numbers for 3 months, I was going to be sitting in a chair at our family cabin on the ocean. I was going to be wearing red pajamas because it would be December, so Christmas time. I'd be drinking a glass of champagne and I would just have tears falling down my face because we've accomplished that goal. And literally dreaming about this goal and picturing myself in that chair, in these pajamas, drinking champagne, got me through every single day and made me ask another person to join the team. You know, get more bookings on the calendar, work with more people to promote up in the career plan. And I never told anybody about this dream that I thought about every day for 3 months. But on Christmas morning, I unwrapped this pair of red pajamas for my husband. And I was like, oh my God, this is actually happening. And literally, I had that moment. So really think about where you want to be when you achieve your goal, who you're going to be with. Think about it to such great detail, because that's what's going to get you through when you keep hearing no, because we're all going to hear no a lot. So this year, I'm manifesting a lot of new people joining our team, some explosive growth for myself and for our leaders, and some new rock stars joining my team. So one thing I like to say in my head a lot too is my next rock star is right around the corner, or my first recruit is right around the corner. You want to really think like that, because that's a positive manifestation. Remember that comparison is the thief of all joy. Comparison is the thief of all joy. It's so easy to hear these stories from Melanie and Emily about how fast they moved up the career plan. And you may be sitting there being like, well, I've been here for 5 years and like I've been trying to get my first recruit. But where you're at in your business is really important to focus on your journey and always stick to the basics of the business. So filling your calendar. I remember, I just think of myself as this little engine that could. I was never one of those people that zoomed right to the top. I remember being like, in it for a couple of years and trying to promote to director, and people would zoom up in 30 days and I'd be like, man, what are they doing that I'm not doing? So remember to stay consistent. So that's my biggest tip that I can give you. Sometimes we'll hear people say things like, oh, I'm taking the summer off, or I'm taking December off to spend with my family. But you want to stay as consistent as possible. So even if right now on this call, you're staring down a calendar with 0 bookings, that's totally fine. You have the whole month to really maximize the double points from now till January 15th, for example. So, for example, I didn't have a lot of bookings this particular week of the month. So I always say there's lots of ways to skin a cat. How am I going to get some sales without having to book a full solid first week back to January? So for you guys, if you're also staring the same thing down, you can get super creative. And I would say that's been one of my biggest strengths in my business, is being creative and getting sales in there without having a stacked calendar. So say for this first week, you could do a mystery host party, and I'll post in the chat what that is. It's pretty much like what I do is for every $10 people spend, I give them 1 draw into the host benefits. And the more people that order, it increases the host benefits and you get more people ordering. Really good one to do with double host rewards. Things like freezer meal workshops, mystery bags. What can you do to fill this week if you didn't have it full? And then my goal next week is to have my calendar completely stacked. I always start my parties on Mondays. So you can bet that Monday, January, I think it's 7th or 8th, or maybe later, January 10th, actually. I'm going to have that day completely packed with bookings. So that is my suggestion, is to stay consistent and be creative. So how am I going to stack my calendar for next week? Discipline. So I am super incentive driven, like most of us are, and I like to reward myself along the way. So I remember going to visit a director when we used to have director site visits. How I miss those. And she said to me, well, why don't we make, she told me a few minutes prior that she had no bookings for that month. And then she's like, let's make some cookies for the kids when they come home from school. And I looked at her, I'm like, we can't make cookies. You don't have any bookings. Let's make the cookies first. And then let's get the bookings first. And then as a reward, we'll have the cookies. That's kind of the way I look at my life as well. So if you as well are staring down an empty calendar, have the discipline to be like, well, I'm not going to watch this TV show tonight. I have this big goal that I want to be sitting in a chair in red pajamas with tears going down my face, drinking champagne or whatever it is. I want to quit this job I hate. I really need to get some bookings on my calendar. So have the discipline to reward yourself after you've done the action. So one of the things I like to do is for every 10 no's I get, I have a little tracker. And for every 10 no's I get, I'll do like a little treat for myself. So you get 10 no's, have a bubble bath. You get 20 no's, get a latte. Maybe after 100 no's, you get a pair of shoes. Who knows? Whatever, turns your crank. But the point is that getting all those no's is going to lead to a lot of yeses. So reward yourself for the activity of actually working along the way, because you will be getting a lot of yeses. This $35 or $25 kit that we have right now can literally be a game changer for you and your business. It can literally take your year into a crazy trajectory. We kind of say that this day is a 90-day business. So the people that you add on now are going to help, just like Melanie's story, build an organization for you. So you want to ask every single person about this opportunity. If you are not offering the business opportunity, unfortunately, recruits are not going to fall in your lap. I wish. It's kind of like if you made a fresh plate of cookies. I clearly really like cookies, but and you just made them, and you're talking to your neighbor. You're like, I just made these fresh cookies. They're so good, and you're putting them under her nose, and you're saying, I think they're the best cookies I've ever made. Anyways, hope you have a good day. And you don't offer her a cookie. Kind of similar with the business opportunity. If you're talking to a friend, for example, and you're like, oh, I'm just loving my Pampered Chef business so much. I got these free tote bags this month. I got all these products last month with the free for all. We have a trip that I'm working towards. Anyways, talk to you later, instead of being like, hey, have you ever thought about doing something like this? That one saying, that's actually what happened to me 14 years ago, was what somebody said to me. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? It's the easiest thing to ask somebody. And that is truly the line that I teach all my new consultants. You can say to them, have you ever thought about doing something like this? I think you'd be awesome at this because you like to eat like me, or you're so good on social media. You'd be awesome at this. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? So make sure to really ask everybody, and you can make it super casual. If it doesn't work out for you, great, that's totally fine, but why don't you give it a try? The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a ton of stuff for a really low price, and the best thing that's going to happen is it could change your life. Remember that we also sell the lifestyle of what we do. So I have a few leaders that are on this call right now, you know who you are, that are going to say, I was so sick of seeing Andrea work from her bed on Instagram that I was like, dang it, Andrea, I got to give this a try. If you're going to work from your bed, I can do that too. Because I always used to be like office for the day. And then I'd be sitting in my bed asking for bookings. So relaxing. Also, one of my favorite tax write-offs is your house cleaner. So you can use it for janitorial expenses. So if I'm at a coffee shop and my house cleaner is cleaning the house, I like to post a photo of that and be like, yay, I love that this is a tax write-off. And I'm working my business from a coffee shop. Or the flexibility of being home with a sick kid. The amount of people that have to take holiday days and personal days to be with their sick kids, post those moments because we're selling the lifestyle of what we're doing. So my challenge for you guys is to manifest where you want to be. So if that's earning the trip this year, if that is earning excellence awards for the first time, if it's earning the tote bags, what is it that you want to achieve? Do you want that $27,000 paycheck? Emily wanted me to share my biggest paycheck, which I just received on December of this year. So from November, so $42,000 for 1 month. That's the biggest paycheck I have ever received to date. So that is possible. And people, you know, on the national team and below are earning crazy paychecks like that. But all these things are not possible. So I really believe that every goal you achieve is due to 3 things. So number 1, you have to actually believe that you can achieve that. We are no different than any of you guys at all. We seriously are the same as you guys. There's no special sauce. We're the same as you. We just had a little baby belief that maybe we could be something more, or we could work this business full time. Then the second step is to decide. And I love when I'm on coaching calls and somebody like decides to go for a goal and they go, oh, I'm going to be sick. And I'm like, yes, they just decided. They decided. And then the last step is acting. So now you have to put your actual wheels in motion and get going, get that calendar booked and ask people. So believe, decide, act. So I want you, my challenge is for you guys to manifest where you want to be and write it down. Just like Melanie said, what a perfect example. Only 3% of people actually write down their goals. Isn't that crazy? 3%. But of those, 98% of people actually accomplish them. So I want you guys to write down your goal for January. Put it somewhere you can see. So you put somewhere like your bedroom closet or your fridge. Your goal for January, your goal for now until conference, and then your big goal for 2022. I keep thinking it's 2020 still too. Everybody's starting at the same level for trip points. We're all starting at 0 points. So whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Stick to the business basics of stacking your calendar and ask every single host, and the results are really going to start paying off. Just to recap that Emily's was to get your face in front of the camera and do a video. And Melanie's was also to write down your goal, I believe, was also hers too, right? Emily, that was your call to action.
Oh yeah, Mel, did you want to share any feelings on action steps they can take today?
Yeah, I sure can. When you set your goals, you have to break them down into chunks, just like what Andrea said. So setting a goal for the year is awesome, but figuring out the steps to achieving that goal can be really helpful and is going to set you up for success. So if your sales goal is this much, if your awards goal, figure out how many that is per month or how many parties per week, kind of like what Emily said when she did the formula for Disney and when I did the formula for how to make $1,000 or more a month. So you need to do a little digging to figure out how to hit what you're hoping to hit with your goals. I feel like our conversation, there was a lot of overlap in everything that we said, but I hope that that's just like hits home with like, that is what you do. You have to figure out how to break it down into smaller chunks. And my starting point for that is filling 1 week of your calendar with the amount of parties that you want. 1 week, not spreading them out over the month, saying, I'm going to stack this 1 week. And then I'm going to hold myself accountable to get bookings from those parties to fill the end of my month that might be empty because I put all these people on 1 week. So if you have bookings spread out, I would reach out to those people and say, I just had a spot open up for next week.
Love that.
On that note, someone just asked in the chat, do you have any good words for getting bookings right now since we're getting close to the 15th? So exactly what Melanie just said is the perfect response for you. Message people and say, I had one spot open up, like hurry and get it. This is the most popular time of year. It's double rewards. Hosts get up to hundreds of dollars of free stuff. Like really build to the excitement factor this month because it's a crazy month to host. Like honestly, spots do fill up fast, and that is 100% the truth. So you want to let them know a sense of urgency to get it in as soon as possible.
And Pampered Chef gave us the brownie bite pan. Like I used that to move people from the end of the month. As soon as I started talking about it, I'm like, you're at the end. Let's bump you up to the beginning. Because like I said, filling 1 week can snowball. I love January now for goal setting, but for the fact that you have the ability to set a trajectory for the rest of your year. I had a January where I had no bookings, like very sparse. And I went back to every party, messaged every person and said, I'm going to fill this. And then it did, it snowballed because people do have great hosting experiences, especially in January.
Andrea, Sandra asked if you have any assistants, and if so, how many?
Yes, I have one person who sets up my parties and she schedules them. And then I have one person who does my recognition. I always say it is so worth it to have an assistant because when you're sitting down to work, you actually are doing income generating activities. Like you're not stamping catalogs or you're not creating, because you could hire even just like a student to create your Facebook or to create your table parties or do your groups on Facebook for really not very much money. And once you hire someone to do those types of tasks, it's like you'll never do them yourself again because you're like, I can create my own, when I sit down to work, I want to be getting bookings, talking to my host about the business, working with my people on my team to be successful. Those are the really income generating parts. That's why I really suggest if you're doing this business to get a house cleaner, because you're not making money when you're scrubbing your toilet, but you're making money when you're working the biz.
And someone else, Terry asked, any tips on getting a past consultant to come back?
Ooh, good question. With this $25 and $35 kit, I'm always like, do you want to give this business a try again? Like you were so great. Are you interested in bringing it back? But don't spend too much time trying to raise the dead. Easier to find new excited people than it is to kind of loop those people back in. So I always go back to dropped consultants when these kit deals come out because it's such a good price for them to come back in at. But don't feel like you have to try and, you know what I mean? Trying to resell it to them. They've already dropped off. Let's move on to someone new and exciting. Same with if you're working with a recruit lead that just like is really on the fence. One of my favorite things to send them is, do you have any more questions or would you like to know how to order your kit? Simple as that. And then if they're just, still on the fence, it's like, okay, next. Some people get so hung up on this one recruit lead, they can't move on to other people. Just need to move on to the next one.
I'm writing that down right now. I have someone who won't respond to me.
Yes, that one works really good. Do you have any more questions or would you like to know how to order your kit?
I have something to say on the note of housekeepers or paying for something. I feel like that makes you accountable. Like when you are paying someone to do something for you that you could do, you're going to be more motivated to spend that time generating income. Or at least I was. I was like, if I'm doing this, I'm going to make what I'm paying them while they're here. Like I'm going to sit down and tell myself that I'm going to do it.
On the note of assistants, Joe asked, how do you pay the assistants? How much? So if anyone wants to get into specifics, I have one assistant, it's a high schooler, and she schedules my posts for me, and that's all she does. And I pay her per party. So I pay her $10 a party to schedule the post and to interact and engage and send me the important details that come from the party. That's just me.
Yeah, that's good. You can pay them per hour and you'll be surprised at how low, but when they send you their invoice, you're like, oh, I guess that, only took 1 hour and I'm paying you $15 an hour. Or, you can pay some students $12 an hour. It's crazy when you get the invoice. You're like, okay, that was for the whole month. That was $50 and I didn't have to set up a party. Like, bring it on. And then another great tax write-off, right? You want these tax write-off, you know what I'm saying?
And on the note of bringing back old consultants, one thing you can offer them is to throw them a launch party or a relaunch party. I know Melanie loves to do this too. But just relaunching them, especially relaunching someone in a double rewards month, could be extra exciting because they're getting even more perks. They may have just had a bad start. They may have been in a rough spot, but I do agree with Andrea 100% of it's better to give birth than to try to revive the dead. I'm of the mentality of replace the duds. If people are falling off, if people aren't responding to your messages, if they're not actively pursuing the business, just find new ones to replace them.
Yes.
I think it can be really helpful to take a poll, and it tells you like who to work with. You can send them like a survey, you can send them a message and just be like, let me know where you're at. If they don't reply to you,
that's a good idea.
Focus your energy elsewhere, right? Like focus it on someone that you can help. A relaunch party, I feel like if someone's like an indirect recruit and maybe you don't know what type of start they got, like someone that you recruited them or something like that, it can be helpful because maybe they are missing some of the foundations of the business. But if the person has been just ignoring you and is gone, you need to spend the time finding new people.
Repeat about the last question. So if you have somebody on the fence about the business, I just say, do you have any more questions or would you like to know how to sign up? That's all I say. You'll find that you get the same objections pretty much all the time. Like, oh, I'm too busy. My favorite like counter to that is actually busy people get stuff done and the busy consultants on my team are actually the most successful. So you kind of get the same objections over and over. So you can kind of formulate a response for all of them.
Speaking of objections, Betsy asked, what do you say when someone says they are not a good salesperson? And I would have to agree. I feel like I was not a good salesperson when I started either. I love the phrase that home office teaches us to use when responding to objections: feel, felt, found. You want to say something along the lines of, I totally understand what you're saying. I felt the exact same way. I have found that people love Pampered Chef. You don't have to be a good salesperson to sell it because people are obsessed with the brand. Everyone's cooking, everyone's eating. The products sell themselves in a way. So truthfully, you don't have to be a public speaker. You don't have to be a salesperson to be awesome at this job.
Love it. Any more questions, you guys? Emily?
Robin said she's a second-time recruit. She came back on her own. So you never know when someone might fall off and decide to hop back in. We have a lot of former consultants on our team, and even people that were consultants when 10 years ago, when in-home parties were the norm. This is a whole different world now. So they may be more inclined to try something new. If they're in a different stage of life where they would prefer to work from home, you never know. 20 years later.
One says you have Leanne says problem with onboarding new recruits. So that's good that you've identified that. So now you can kind of find out what other people are doing to onboard new recruits, and kind of work on a system. Like, what system am I going to use to onboard new recruits?
Think about what words you find yourself saying over and over. Write those down, save them in a Word document, save them in a text replacement, so that when you do get another consultant, you're not having to rethink of the words, you're not having to look them up. You have it right there in one spot and you can send it out to every future person that joins your team. But with onboarding, to me, my goal is to do everything in my power to get them to 1250, because a qualified recruit is more likely to stay with the business. So you don't want them to just sit there and chill at $300, $400. You want to push them to get to $1,250, and that's going to make a big drastic difference in the future of them with the company. Did that answer your question in regard to onboarding? I bug the crap out of them. If they're at 700, I'm like, you're only 500 away from getting the Flex Plus or whatever it is. I'm constantly on them until their 90 days are up, letting them know how far away they are, how close, making sure they're getting the bookings, and really pushing them to at least get to 1,250. And then of course you want to push to 2,500, 5,000 after that.
For $0 parties, I don't know what I really do. I offer the host a discount and say, if you wanted to place an order, I'll give you a past host discount. And then I move on to the next. I don't know what Emily does, but.
I block them and okay. I never talk to them again. No, totally kidding. I get really sad and I block them. I don't really have any advice for that either. I'm moving on. I would say leverage the party guest, really push hard to get something from the party, message every guest, try to get an order, try to get a booking, make it some form of a valuable party so that you don't feel like you wasted your time. Either by messaging guests to get bookings or to get orders. You could give away e-cookbooks for the first 3 people that order. That's an easy one. That doesn't cost a thing.
Christina, for what do you do if a hostess decides she wants to join in the middle of her party? Generally, so what I do is every time the first order in a party comes through, even though I've already asked her about the business, I unlock the order and I say, Susan, just wanted to let you know our first order has come through. I just wanted to make sure that you're not interested in making this party your own party and making the commission on this party. That's why I always unlock the first order that comes through and ask her again. It's like my signal to ask them again about the business. And you will not believe how many people are like, oh, I did get an order. Okay, cool. I want to do this. So, but if it does often happen that some orders have gone through and then they want to start, I normally say either we can finish this party off and we can use your host rewards and use the kit credit, or we can, literally end the party right now. Any other orders you get will go under you. I think that's kind of the two. And then how do you train new recruits, Leanne? Normally, I personally run the first party for them. And then I try and get them to get other hosts so that you're running their first party in a block party and work with them to get bookings from bookings, get them to go on Dash, and then sending them scripts to get bookings, essentially. What about you, Emily? I'm sure you have some magical.
Oh, second thing, helping them with their first party and encouraging them to get bookings is really the biggest thing. Dash, of course, is fantastic. Never underestimate the power of Dash.
So just because why do you unlock that? Because I want to unlock that order so that, and then it just triggers me to ask the host, hey, the first order just came in. Are you interested in doing this? And then I'll move that, not that you can move that order, but I'll take that order, give it to her, and then we'll just call the customer for their payment again.
Yeah, unlocking it gives you the opportunity basically to still cancel it before it goes through, so that if they do want to sign up, you can delete everything. That person can reorder under the new consultant. What is our call to action? For me, mine is do a video showing your face using your voice, post it on your VIP group, hopefully utilize it in your party outlines, use lots of videos in your party outline. And Andrea's and Melanie's is write down your goals, correct? And Betsy asked, what would you say if someone asked what they need to sell in their first 30 days?
6,000, they don't want or 5,000 for you guys. You want the knife block, obviously, no?
Show them the goods, show them the perks. I mean, right
That's
now,
right.
the only thing you have to do in your first 30 days is $12.50 to get the Flex Plus, but also the whipped cream maker, I think is first. Is that 30 days or 90? That's 30.
There's like a crazy statistic that if people achieve the knife block in their first 30 days, they're like something like 90% likely to promote to director. So let's just go for the knife block now. I always like to say that we can do this as much or as little as you want, but we're going to work together to reach your first fast track rewards.
Awesome. Well, I think we're at our time. Y'all asked some amazing questions. Thank you for being here. So good to see so many faces.
Thank you.
Are going to post this recording soon. We'll give it to your leaders and they'll share it ASAP. We'll see y'all next week. Okay.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. Y'all have a good night.
Keep warm.